Hello everybody, my name is Kador. Welcome to my CD collection video. This will be the third in the trilogy, and then I'll be kind of done for now. I've shown off my entire collection of music up to this point. So, yeah, not much else to say there. I'll probably do some more videos in the summer or something when I amass more albums, and I'll show those off. But for now, I just got the CDs left, and I also have one LP that just arrived after I filmed the record video. That is Skin Graft Enemy. I'll show that off right now. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the record video, but basically I bought this from Skeleton Dust, and I forgot to pick it up. Like, we just never kind of ended up in my bag. So Luke there was very kind and just sent it in the mail free of charge. So yeah, it's very nice. I still got it. Pretty simple packaging. It's recorded 1986 to 2013, so all across the years. The cover sort of thing is kind of beat up. It's like coming out on all angles, but as you can see, it is a white vinyl. Ooh. So that's always neat. Yeah. Yeah, so like this is noise. It's really good noise though. It's relatively dynamic at times, and it's got, you know, quite a bit of sonic variety, but it also still has some definite distortion, definite kind of nasty darkness to it at all times. Never sacrifices that element. So yeah, it's really mucky noise. Alright, so now for the CDs. And there's one more kind of thing before the CD collection proper that I want to show off here, and that is this. These are all They Might Be Giants albums. They Might Be Giants is pretty much the only band or like music project that I ever listened to until I was like 14. I just grew up on their like children's music basically, and then I started discovering their other music, and yeah, I don't know, it's just kind of all I bothered to check out, and yeah, I wasn't very musically explorative until then, so yeah, I got like almost their entire discography here. I don't know if you want to check them out. They're just kind of like a rock band that's sort of goofy, and I don't know, they just have they do a lot of weird stuff that's kind of unexpected, and just kind of go across a lot of different genres. And their lyrics are always really strange and bizarre. So yeah, I mean they're fun. I don't know. Nanobots is definitely a favorite. I don't know. Flood is always a classic. Yeah. But anyway, I just thought I'd kind of throw all those out there. So when I was like 14 or so, I discovered Deadmau5, and he's kind of the first musician that I really got into. Big time. I mean, I have all these Deadmau5 reviews on my channel from when I was still kind of obsessed with them. Yeah, he was really like the only musician I cared about then, and I just really like dived into all of his music and just found every last bit of it everywhere. And you know, while I don't absolutely love his music now, and I don't really listen to it much anymore, I can't deny that it's really what got me on the path to discovering all sorts of other types of music. So yeah, I mean, I always have a special place in my heart for Deadmau5. And, you know, he does have some pretty cool music. This is just kind of a 5 years of Mouse compilation. It's just like a compilation of his best tracks, I guess. Best tracks? Not really. There's definitely some good ones on here, for sure, but, I don't know, it's just kind of his more popular, you know, EDM kind of things. I don't know. It obviously doesn't work as an album, because it's just random tracks. As far as like an album experience, While One Is Listened To is definitely better. I just felt like I wanted to own something by him, so I got this a while back. But yeah, I am going chronological order, by the way, so this is like the first thing, besides those They Might Be Giant CDs, that came into my collection. And then there's 2 discs on here, so a bunch of mouse heads, and yeah, 2 discs. And the other disc is a remix CD. That's kind of really bad. There's barely any good remixes on here, to be honest. The Raise Your Weapon Maddie on remix is good, but yeah, otherwise it's just kind of the originals are better. But anyway, I don't know. I don't really listen to Deadmau5 anymore, but again, I still respect him, and he's really the guy that got me into all of the music that I like nowadays and started that path of just loving music and loving electronic music in particular. Next up is Finesse with Endless Summer. I got this because at the time it wasn't on Spotify, and I don't know, I just kind of felt like picking it up because I've heard that it's kind of like his best work, and I was a fan of, casual fan of Finesse. I really like the album Bex, or however to pronounce that, and I really like this album too, but not too much of his other work really I really love, but I definitely like him quite a bit, and he's made some great music, so yeah, this is kind of before I had the idea of just kind of buying anything that's not on the internet, because this is on the internet somewhere, it just wasn't on Spotify, but whatever. I bought this, it's like a digipack situation, so, wow, some photos and whatnot, sunsets, yeah, plants behind there. This is a good album. It's like really pretty melodic, kind of summery glitch music, I guess, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool album for sure, and for 2001, it was really kind of groundbreaking in terms of glitch music and just kind of that sort of computer sound. So pretty cool. All right, so this is when I started to buy things because they weren't online, and I just buying them was the only way to hear them. And this is Wolf Eyes Prurient, their split kind of thing called The Warriors. Yeah, there's just a few tracks from here online. I obviously got it for the Prurient side. I'm not that big of a fan of Wolf Eyes, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I don't dislike them or anything, but a lot of their stuff just doesn't really grip me. It's just kind of like random, messy kind of improvisation that doesn't really, just doesn't really do much for me, to be honest. But I don't know. The tracks on here are pretty terrifying to be honest. Like, yeah, there's a lot of really dark atmospheres and creepiness to them. And then the Prurient side is just like harsh noise. I mean, there's not too many vocals to them. Just a lot of a lot of really well-made, well-recorded noise. The last two tracks are pretty interesting. They use a lot of field recordings and weird kind of dissonant melodies like in the last track. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Definitely some solid Prurient material, and for Wolf Eyes, they're okay. I mean, nothing amazing, but yeah. I just really like the liner notes on this thing. Like, Prurient just puts all these like weird, cryptic, kind of poetic lines in his liner notes sometimes. Well, so first of all, there's "play loud during an overcast afternoon." That's when you gotta listen to this. I've done that. And it kind of says below that, "I always keep my gun pointed north." I don't know what that means, but I love it. Yeah. So anyway, here is the inside, kind of a blank CD, but this little like semi-booklet kind of comes out and just shows some I don't know, Mayan ruins or something. So that's pretty neat. And then behind the CD there is more of those kind of things. So yeah, pretty solid album. Next up is Various Artists with Secrets and Sounds. This is just continuing my hunt for Prurient material that's not online. He just has one track on here, and that's kind of the only reason I bought it. I mean, there are some other artists that I recognized on here, like Football Rabbit is actually a band that Dom's in, as well as Smash Femur Dance Party. Hair Police I recognized. I don't know. I like the track from Growing that I heard. So, yeah. It's an interesting compilation for sure. I don't know. It's not really consistent. It's like a bunch of. It's not just noise, but it's all really. There's a lot of stuff that's more influenced by like digital hardcore, like Gabber and stuff like that. Well, there's no tracks that are literally just that style. It's just like really weird, kind of hard, edgy IDM, I guess. A lot of it, and then some of it's just noise. Some of it's very digital noise. And then some of it's more traditional kind of analog noise. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of variety on here. It's not a very consistent listen. And there's some tracks that are just straight up annoying, like the Cypher Fox maybe. I don't know. That track's really, really obnoxious. I hate that. But anyway, yeah, pretty simple packaging here. Not really much to talk about. The Prurient track's okay. It's not great, but it is what it is. So the Growing track is pretty cool. That's only like a minute though. But anyway, yeah, just more on the hunt for Prurient material kind of stuff. Speaking of Prurient, this is his latest album called Rainbow Mirror, and it is a 4 CD, like, I guess 8-panel digipack. I don't know why they call it 8-panel, because there's only 4 panels, but I guess it's like 2 on each side kind of situation. I don't know. So it says Together and Alone, like that cassette that I got. You probably can't read that at all. Track list in the back, and then yeah, here it just kind of opens up into this giant thing. So each disc is there, some cool symbols in the middle, and then yeah, this last disc is neat. It's like a mini CD, so I'll just like pop it out and show you. Like only some of the CD is actually like that silver. It's like actually written, and then on it has like words around it, like it says Prurient, and then it says A New Beginning, A New Day of Hell, which is one of the lyrics from the poem in the Rainbow Mirror track from 1997 on that cassette. And then it says Violent Dreams, Childhood Decay. Alright. But yeah, it also comes with, if I can get it out of this little thing. I didn't even like notice that it had these at first. I'm like, where are the other inserts? They're just in these like tiny little like things here on the side that I can barely even notice. But yeah, there's these little inserts that fold out into, well, so there's 2 of them. There's one on each side. This one folds out, so it has these things on the back, these like kind of Prurient symbols that are kind of deconstructed. Oh, bada boom! It's kind of a bad poster. I'm not gonna hang it up. It's just like the album cover, really lazily photoshopped over a nuclear explosion. But, you know, it's pretty neat. And it fits the theme of the writing that is on the other insert, which I will show you. Okay, it's still in here again. And this is like really one of the best parts about this whole album, to be honest, is like the writing on this one. So if you open this one up, like I don't know what to call it. It's sort of like, so this whole bit of text here. So it's a story just called Rainbow Mirror. It's divided into like 6 parts. So it sort of starts as like a tale, like a story that someone's kind of narrating to you, and then as you go along, it just gets more and more abstract and like deconstructed and poetic, and it just sort of makes less and less sense as it goes on, until it's just completely just abstract and nonsensical, apparently. But I mean, there really is so much you can get out of this, and there is definitely running themes, and there's yeah, I mean, it's a really cool story. I mean, like Prurient, just his writing is amazing. He did this with some other guy as well. But yeah, Scott Bryant Wilson. So it's like sort of co-written by him and Dom. But yeah, it's just, man, like his writing, whether it comes to lyrics or tiny little short story type things like this, it's just so like beautiful and interesting and cryptic, and just like, you know, it's so rereadable because you can just keep reading it over and over and just get like a new thing out of it every time and never really get that answer of what it actually means. So anyway, really neat stuff there. But yeah, as far as the music on this album, I mean, if you know Prurient, you probably know, just because it's kind of what the buzz has been about recently. But it's doom electronics. It's just kind of like abstract, improvised noiseescapes, kind of some dark ambient, some kind of industrial noise for sure, but it's never like too harsh. It's a little bit harsh at times, but it's never like completely scathing. Yeah, it's just really abstract and weird and cinematic in a way. It's not really like, it doesn't really tap into that kind of emotional side too much. It's more just about kind of sonic exploration. But yeah, it definitely kind of paints a picture of just these vast kind of post-apocalyptic landscapes. So that's pretty neat. I mean, it's really like nothing I've ever heard before. I can't say I love it. I definitely usually expect something more emotional and kind of immediate out of Prurient's material, and this is not that at all. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting listen. I'm definitely glad I got it. So anyway, Prurient, Rainbow Mirror. Next up, we got a CD that I got at Skeleton Dust Records, and this is Immaculate Grotesque with Circles. And yeah, so I got this because I really like the Immaculate Grotesque side to the New England five LP box set compilation thing that I showed you before. It was just like really good harsh noise wall, and I figured that this would be the same kind of thing. And it was sort of disappointing, to be honest. I mean, I need to listen to this again to really develop a solid opinion on it. But from what I gathered on first listen, it was just there's just a lot of like kind of obnoxious digital sounding. I mean, obviously it's digital sounding because it's on a CD, but I feel like the CD really doesn't benefit the sound in this case, because it just sounds way too digital, and there's just all these like this high-end kind of buzzy tonal distortion that just sounds really obnoxious, and like it's not wall, but it drones on for a really long time without too much progression. So it's like, you know, it doesn't have that kind of entrancing aspect that wall has, but it also just drones on for a really long time, so it just gets kind of obnoxious if you don't like the sound, which I don't in this case. I mean, yeah, it's not all like terrible or anything, and I'm sure I'll come around to it at some point, maybe on another listen, but yeah, I just don't really love it on first listen. The CD is kind of annoying because it's like, it looks the exact same on both sides. So like, I guess this is the actual side that it plays on, but it looks the same on both sides, so yeah. Just kind of these images of some like forest kind of nature area. Sometimes you have to hurt the ones you love. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see how that relates to anything in the audio portion, personally, but whatever. Yeah, it's from 2003. I don't know. I'm just not really in love with it. I really like his material in the New England compilation a lot better than this, but whatever. It is what it is. Alright, so this next one I also got at Skeleton Dust, and it is really cool. It's probably my favorite thing that I got there, maybe. I don't know. It is Night Science 5. Yeah, this is a zine, a magazine, and it's very thick. There's many pages to this. Bit of that on the back. So, yeah, the reason I'm including this in the CD video is because it has a CD on the back that features basically, so there's all these like artists on the front listed, and there's interviews with all those artists, and there's also one or two tracks by each of those artists on the CD. So you kind of get to hear a little sample from each of the artists that are being interviewed. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, the first two sections are just kind of like interviews for the different artists. You know, there's like Albrecht, Hal Hutchinson, Blessed, Skingraft, Kazuma Kubota, who I actually didn't really know about before this, and checked it out, and I really like his stuff. But yeah, anyway, just really, really great interviews. Yeah. And then after the interview section, there's a few sections of like live, like concert reviews and things like that. And then pretty much the other half of the book is album reviews. So just reviews of various releases in the underground kind of noise scene that he's picked up. So just experimental music, noise, power electronics, all that is covered here. And yeah, I mean, it goes from some of the more well-known acts to just completely obscure ones, obviously. So yeah, it's great. And it's all really well written. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this thing, or any of the other Night Sciences. I'm sure they're all good. This is the fifth one, and I think the last one, well, I'm guessing I'll make another one at some point, but the last one for now. Yeah, I don't know, it's really, really great. If you're into this kind of scene, this is like essential to have. And yeah, the material on the CD is good too, for the most part. Like the Kazuma Kubota track is great, and Hal Hutchinson does this sort of junk metal destruction like always. Skinnygraph track is good. There's also a bunch of like ads and whatnot in here for like for various noise labels and things like that. So you know, you can get more exposure to those kinds of things. Yeah, it's just a really, really cool magazine. I definitely recommend it. And finally, we have Paul Westschel and Finez with Wrapped Islands. I just got this for Christmas from some of my relatives who I guess just kind of heard that I liked Finez and just found this somewhere. This is online, but it's not like readily available. It's kind of hard to get to. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to have. I don't really love the material, to be honest. It's sort of like abstract, improvisational. I don't know. I don't know what instrument. I mean, I guess it says what instruments they use. Like, yeah, they're using like saxophones, double bass computer, obviously for various glitches and kind of synth sounds, acoustic guitar, cello. Yeah, I mean, there's just all those kinds of instruments and computer sounds that are just sort of blended into a random kind of, not random, but I mean sort of like just kind of improvisational, abstract soundscape. That it never really gets too dense. It's just sort of sounds just kind of emerging and then disappearing. A lot of silent gaps and just very quiet throughout. So it's not super engaging. It doesn't really have an emotional aspect to it. There are some interesting sounds for sure. But I just can't really see myself returning to this very often. But whatever, it's still pretty cool. And it's Finesse, so he always kind of adds that extra touch. Here's the inside of the thing. It's pretty cool imagery. I like the art on that. Yeah. I don't know. It's okay. Didn't expect to get all this material from Finesse, but yeah. So that is my entire CD collection. Yeah, I don't know. Not quite as material here than in my other videos, I suppose, but just thought I'd kind of show it off. So hopefully you got some good recommendations, and yeah, I'll be doing this again in the summer probably when I have more albums. I already have actually. I just got the sort of like post-Christmas present for Tim Hecker's Virgins album, which is like one of my favorite albums of all time, possibly actually my #1 favorite. And so I'm getting that in the mail at some point, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, that'll kind of start the train of some of my favorite albums being purchased on vinyl, and I'll hopefully have a collection of those to show off again, like in the summer at some point. So, yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you some other time.